All right, in this section we are going to look at dividing integers. But I want you to understand the proper names for all the things that you see here. Like if I do, 3 divided into 15, and of course we get 5, please know what the name is for each of the pieces that you see. Okay? 3 is called the divisor. It's what you're dividing by. 15 is called the dividend. It's what you're dividing into. Dividend, dividing into. And then the 5, the answer here is called your quotient. Okay. Now there are a lot of different ways for us to show division here. Using this long division bar, what we have here, please make sure you do not get that confused with the square root symbol. Sometimes people use square root instead of the division symbol, and that's very, very awkward and confusing. You could also say this, 15, divided by 3 is 5. And sometimes we even write this using fractions. 15 over 3 is equal to 5. Now, we'll discuss fractions in more depth in a couple of chapters. Just know that all these mean the same thing, that you are dividing 15 by 3 and you get 5. So your divisor in all of these is 3, and you see it in all the different positions. The quotient is 5. You see that as being the answer. And what you're dividing into, the dividend, is 15. The sign rules that we had for multiplication are the same as division. Division is really a form of multiplication, and we'll kind of see that as we work through this semester. So just make the note that we have the same sign rules. Same sign rules as multiplication. Do you remember the sign rules for multiplication? All right. Let me remind you then. If you multiply a positive times a positive, what do you get? You get a positive. If you multiply a negative times a negative, what do you get? So if you multiply and you have the same sign, you end up with a positive answer, right? But if you multiply a positive times a negative number, what do you get? Negative. Negative. And it doesn't matter what order we do that because of the commutativity property of multiplication. So if you go positive times negative or negative times positive, the answer is negative, right? The same thing is going to be true for us whenever we are doing division, because I told you, it's essentially a form of multiplication. So just make sure that we understand those sign rules. If I have 20 divided by negative 4, what's your answer?
Negative 4.
It should just be negative 5, right? Even if there were no signs here to worry about, and you just had 20 divided by 4, you better tell me that's 5. The only difficult thing that you guys need to worry about in this whole chapter is, what are my signs? We should not be struggling to do basic addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. That should not be our struggle. The struggle here is, what is the appropriate sign? A positive divided by a negative is going to give you a negative. They have opposite signs, so your answer is negative. If I have negative 56 divided by negative 7, what is the sign of my answer? It's going to be a positive. You have a negative divided by a negative. So it should be a positive, and what's 56 divided by 7? 8. So just like that, right? If I have negative 10 divided by 5, what is that? It's going to give me negative 2. And we can make these problems look even more complicated if we need to. You say no?
Not to that.
Oh yeah, you say no. Don't say no to me. Nobody says no to me. It's just like nobody puts baby in a corner. You don't say no to me. If I have negative 108 divided by negative 12, What's the sign of the answer? It's positive because you have two negatives. Okay, what's 108 divided by 12? You're supposed to know this. La respuesta es 9. 9. Right? If you're not sure about this, you know you can always check by doing what? Not calculator. Are you kidding? Did you say calculator? You know this is being recorded, right? You can multiply the divisor times the quotient to get the dividend. So 12 times 9 better give you 108. And it does. So now we can all be colon capital D, right? Any questions about this? You got your signs down? If you need to, on the test, if you need to make a little chart like this, just so you know, do that at the very beginning. Say, this is for multiplication and division. This is what I do with my signs. Make little notes and put those on the test as soon as you get it. Don't do any problems, but make your notes. You with me? Now, let's look at some very special properties we have with division.